This is the Intelligent Human Voice Podcast Network. I'm your host, the Pat Man, from the Bay to LA and beyond. If you're tuning in live, we are live here in downtown LA. I got a special super guest in the house, a couple of guests in the house. Rio Sirah and the awesome model yogi Shannon. Word. Shannon, what's your Follow the booty. That's right. Follow the booty. She is here, and Rio is doing a live body painting. So this is awesome. We're capturing all around the world premiere right here in downtown LA, and also we're going to get into a very special tribute to one of my heroes. And once we get into the conversation with Rio, you'll see the influence from Stan Lee himself, the man. Rest in paradise. I actually don't think he's resting. I think he's just chilling and watching it all come together. That's what's up. We'll be right back in 2 seconds. Get a little bit of this jazz in your system for a minute, and we're going to get right into this. All right?
Hey, a little bit of sweet jam.
All right, this is your host, the Pat Man, from the Bay to LA and beyond. I am downtown LA with a very, very super special guest, Rio Sirah. Brother from the ATL, Mississippi, down south, here in LA, doing what he do. How you doing, brother?
And I'm doing fantastically well, and fantastically I am doing.
Yes, you are. So today we have a supermodel yogi, Shannon. Rio is doing a live body painting in tribute to Stan Lee. I'm not going to tell you what he's painting. You have to see it for yourself. You got to see it for yourself. But let's start off with, dude, how'd you get into your art, and just give the audience a little bit background on your vision and how it all started.
Okay, no problem. First and foremost, I'd like to say, if you hadn't already, go ahead and donate to the Kickstarter. It's right there in my bio. It's for the Artist Interactive Studios, a place where collective artists can all be in one singular spot, putting together some of the stuff you see right now. So you're talking about podcasts, you're talking about event shows, you're talking about theater art, dance, all of the above, all housed under one studio spot. So once again, go to the bio, click the link, donate. All right,
got the
now,
donate.
and that's Rio Sirah. That's Instagram. It's RIOSIRAH.
That's a good plug.
Yeah. So I got started in the art first and foremost by my father, who is a fine artist and an architect as well. And as my mother would tell the story, she remembers me crying because I couldn't paint like my father. And that was the beginning of the passion for wanting to, know this art form and do it. I knew what I wanted to be at 4 years old. So everything else was just pretty much a journey of what I liked. And I was generally inspired by everything. If it was art in some type of way, some form of fashion, I wanted to be a part of it, and I wanted to learn it. And I'm not the type of person that wants to kind of learn things halfway or just do it for a little while. I want to know the whole thing. Like, I want to know how to be the best at it. So now that I'm body painting, that's the avenue of which I'm like focusing my expertise and stuff on.
So you did have the inspiration in-house with your dad in fine arts and architecture, but you then kind of taken it your own path in art itself and expanded into the body painting.
Correct.
So how did you get into the body painting, man? Because it is an art form that is, it's alive, it's organic, it's and it's a whole different kind of canvas, literally.
Indeed. I tell this story quite often, and I love telling it because it approached me. Like, body painting wasn't something that I seeked out to do.
Right. Can't imagine somebody was sitting around, paint me first.
Yeah, like
Me
it
first.
just. I mean, it almost kind of happened that way. The person who asked me to do it was and still is a good friend of mine. That's Candace King, Candyland Cosmetics. You should follow her on Instagram as well. And she had a shoot that didn't happen, and she didn't want to waste her time, so she said, "Why don't you paint me?" And at the time, all I had was like acrylic paint that you get from like Walmart, and I didn't know the ins and outs of it even being a thing. I never knew body painting was a thing.
Right.
So I just took her up on her request. And why not? Because she fine as hell.
Yeah.
And
that helps.
I was like, yeah, it helps a hell of a lot. And so I decided to go ahead and paint her. And it's really the photographer that started making the moves after that. Because even after I did it, I said to myself, okay, I painted somebody. On to the next one. I'm pursuing my music career.
Done.
That's what I was adamantly on. And he started showing the pictures to other people. And he brought me, I think, 4 or 5 more models after that, and I just painted them. And then when he went to other clubs and stuff, people were asking him, "Man, do y'all do this? Because this is kind of cool." Mm-hmm. And
this was in Atlanta.
This was in Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I said to myself, "Well, but of course, of course I do this."
Obviously.
Are you right? Obviously, isn't it obvious? So that was it, man. I mean, after that,
Just hit the ball, right? And just
yeah,
done.
literally people were like, "Yo, we want you to paint here and we'll pay you this much." Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Wait a minute, you mean to tell me I get to paint and get paid for it and see naked ladies?
Easy.
All at the same time? Man, come on, sign me up."
Easy.
So, so that's kind of how that happened, and the rest is history.
So, just to let you guys know, the audience, this is live. If you want to go to Spreaker.com/IHVPN, that's IHVP Network. And a chat session is open if you want to send a message to Rio or myself, and you got any questions you want to ask. The chat session is open to do that. This will be our first chat session. So it started in Atlanta. Now you're in LA, and I'm sure you know that Atlanta. Los Angeles, LA is just the capital of art. Period. People doing things in a major way. A lot of shows coming up, or shows that you're working on right now. Projects with your artwork. How's that going?
Yeah, definitely. The project I'm working on more so than anything else is my own TV show called Rio Sirah. And
you were on the show, right? You were
yes.
on a few shows on Netflix?
Yes, I was on a hit TV show called Skin Wars. It's a body painting competition show.
Cool.
Yeah, so you can still see that now on Netflix now. You know what I'm saying? If you want to see your boy now, you can go and do that now.
You go Netflix.
Skin Wars.
Exactly. Skin Wars.
It.
Go watch it.
On Netflix.
And because of that show, it has put me in a real powerful position to have my own show. So that's what I'm working on now.
Super dope.
Yeah.
Super dope.
Is that what inspired your show now?
No, I actually always had the idea to do a show. It's just I didn't know what kind of a show I wanted to have. You know what I'm saying? It was just like always in the back of my mind when I was painting something. It was like, I know I want to have a show, but the idea of what I want to have with the show hasn't hit me yet. But now it has. And so to give you a real quick short of what it is, it's a surreality show. So it's a story loosely based on my life, but told from a sci-fi standpoint. And the first episode is me falling out of the sky and hitting the ground in like the 1700s.
Oh man,
and it starts there.
Yeah, and it starts there.
See,
does it
that's what
progressively go like later years, or like does it kind of stay in that realm?
Oh no, it goes.
It goes
over
like
and beyond.
future, yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So you have to
Love
be
that.
here to see this. Should I share with the audience what you're painting onto Shannon? As a tribute to Stan Lee, the show today is dedicated to Stan Lee. who passed a few days, transition into what's next, because we don't know what's next.
Exactly.
But he left so much. I mean, everything that is art and creativity. Stan Lee inspired the imagination. I know for myself, I picked up a pen and just cartoons every Saturday morning. How would you say Stan inspired you, man?
Oh, man.
Right?
Where do I begin, Lord?
The Saturday morning, you remember Spider-Man, Saturday morning cartoons, Stan Lee would come in and, true believers, man.
Well,
yeah.
I was around the time that X-Men on Fox came out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The animated series.
Yeah, the animated series. Yes. And
Dude, that was so solid. It was such a solid. I was like, you can't cancel this.
Nope, but they did.
They were so ahead of the game on that.
Yeah,
so ahead of the game.
But the beginning of it for me started before the cartoon. Mm-hmm. I remember distinctively. I can't even recall the episode. I mean the comic book number, but I remember what was on the front, and it was Bishop, the black guy with the M written across the eye, and then it was Colossus and I believe Storm and Wolverine all on the front cover, and they were like in a fight action pose against another group of, I think, either X-Men from the past or the future or something like that.
Right.
And that's like the first one that I bought. And I remember me and my brother, we took the entire comic book, right? Uh-huh. And we copied every single pose. We redrew the entire comic book all over again. From the beginning to the end, but we changed all the characters in it. So we kept all the poses, but we changed all their outfits and changed their hairstyles and changed the characters and wrote our own story in the place of it.
Ridiculous.
So I didn't even realize that at the time. And we were doing it like clockwork, because my brother was selling comic books in school, like second grade, third grade.
Get
you
out.
Know what I'm saying? Yeah, we were making them ourselves and selling it.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Comic book trapping.
So was this in Atlanta or Mississippi?
No, this is when we lived in Alabama.
In Alabama.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where were you born?
Born in Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay.
But it's so many stories and so many travels.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the beginning of it, and I think, I know for sure that Stan Lee, excuse me.
Stan Lee. Other Lee. The other Lee.
There's so many Lees. Bruce Lee, Stan Lee, Sarah Lee. You know what I'm saying?
I love the red.
But Stan Lee really encouraged that whole element of what we were doing with those comic books, because we were so inspired by the way it was drawn and the action. Shout out to Jim Lee. Shout out to Jay Lee.
Yes.
Shout out to Todd McFarlane.
Todd McFarlane, dude.
Freaking
Oh
McFarlane.
my gosh, dude.
The legend.
Oh my
Dude.
God, that's a story all itself. But I'm gonna say that for another
That's a
podcast.
whole nother
Right now, we gonna
podcast right
focus
there.
on Stan the Man.
Yep. And you, let me ask you, Shannon. Now, did you know what he was going to be painting today?
No idea.
And you just happened to wear those glasses?
I just happened to be wearing these yellow glasses, and then I have red nails. And the whole costume is red and yellow.
Didn't I talk about this on the first podcast that we did? The flow, how the flow just happens. You just do it, and it just rocks. It always makes sense, right?
It always works.
It always comes together. It always makes sense.
It does.
Ooh.
Stan Lee. And all right, so Shannon, how does it feel to be body painted? And have you been body painted before?
I've been body painted before, and I really, really love it. It's very euphoric feeling, and that's why I was actually so excited for today.
Because it's like
I love your artwork.
therapy, right?
Yeah, it is. It really does feel really good.
So we're doing.
It's just so fun to see like the finished,
Yeah.
the feeling of it, and then to see the outcome.
Are you gonna rock it all day, or what you gonna do?
Well, I teach naked yoga, so this will be really interesting.
Right, the walk-in class.
Oh, I think
I'm
perfect.
like, well, I am naked.
Perfect. You're good. I'd sign up.
Yeah.
I make everybody else feel like they forgot something. Like, so, and no one got the memo
You didn't get that
today was costume yoga.
Yeah,
and make everybody feel out of place.
I'm like,
Costume
it's
yoga.
still my birthday, Halloween.
Right.
Oh my god.
It'll work.
It'll work.
I think there's something in the making with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Body paint yoga.
Yeah. I love it.
Right.
Why freaking not?
Why not? Namaste, namasta, namu akusa.
Oh man.
Namaste, namasta, namu akusa. And this is looking awesome. So awesome. So
Awesome.
you have to be here. You just have to be here. This is such a great idea. We did the first one live. Is this your second live painting?
Yeah. I mean, concerning what we're doing right now,
Yeah,
I've
what
done
we're doing right
lives before where I've painted people on live, but you know, like I'm just doing better about developing the patience to like paint, stop, paint, stop, paint, stop,
Right.
paint, stop.
Right.
So, I enjoy interacting with people. I also more so enjoy interacting with them organically. So like, you know, the people are physically there. I'm physically there. They can see everything that's going on. But I like the way that things are going now because it's a way of kind of having a virtual audience. As something I'll actually be doing Saturday. So I have a virtual audience performance.
Ooh.
You have something going on Saturday?
What platform?
It's going to we're going to be doing YouTube Live and we're going to be doing IG. So
Solid.
the theme is the 4 seasons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint 4 models, one for each season, and they're going to do a whole dance like number for their theme with the specific music that goes to that
so
season.
cool.
So we're already like finding the music. I already have the models. I'm looking to do setup tomorrow so that everything's on point. And then we will be doing the digital version of what street performers do.
Oh, cool.
So people can donate like money if they
Yeah.
like the show digitally while everything is going on. So
Genius.
Wow.
Genius.
Saturdays, get ready for that.
Super cool.
And because, you know,
Join
we're in a
Saturday.
disclosed location, a private location, like the whole thing is going to be real wild. Like,
Do whatever.
Yeah.
it can be whatever. And I'm going to let the ladies do what they do. I'm not going to tell nobody what to do. If you want to start off naked and then get painted, let's do it.
Hey.
And you know what? The beauty about being an artist in 2018 in LA
Yes.
is we've come to the point where the middlemen. I mean, you and your brother were selling comic books, you know, in school.
I got more to that story.
That shows
The
you.
broker.
We got to hear more about. I want to hear more about
Yeah,
that.
I got more to that story.
We got to hear more about that because that's entrepreneurial unlike you've ever seen. And you've already been on board with not having a middleman, taking, you know, the bull by the horn literally and just becoming organically who you are without all the restrictions.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
No one to tell you, well, you got to be here at this time. You got to do this. You got to do that. I need you to paint this. You're like,
Well,
no,
that's
I
what's
do what I
interesting
do.
about the story about me and my brother selling comic books.
Let's talk about that. Let's go
All right,
into
so-
that.
We were started in 2nd grade.
So like I think I was maybe 4th grade at the time, and my brother was 2nd grade. So we started off like our own little characters doing like maybe we were going in. We wanted to be just like the comic book, so we didn't do like 5 pages. We did like a whole 22 pages of like a comic book.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
how long did that take? How long
Believe it
would
or
you
not-
guesstimate that it took for you guys to bring that together?
I think because what we were doing was taking other people's comic books and quickly like reduplicating everybody's poses and stuff like that. And all we did was add color or
Right.
change their costumes.
Right.
We were doing like a comic book a week.
Wow.
You know, because we were literally like we weren't the type of family that like my father wouldn't let me like have sleepovers at other kids' house or
Right.
stuff like that. Like he was a
Thank
pastor
God.
and he was
Oh,
a
yeah.
Pentecostal pastor and he was like, nope, because this could happen and this could happen and this could like
All the-
everything. Like
all
that's
the
why I
what
was
ifs.
hearing what you said
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah.
It's like that's
fear.
he kind of was like that type. You know, he was still cool, but he was just about protection.
Yeah.
So, you know, we spent all that time at the house. You know what I'm saying? And we would just be hardcore into what we were doing. 10 hours straight. Like him writing and doing the penciling, then me inking, and then sometimes we'd flip, you know what I'm saying, rolls or whatever, and then I would pencil it, he would ink it, and then we write the story, put it together, put it out, you know.
So solid.
And so
So
my
solid.
brother was went to like a predominantly white school. Now, the reason I'm saying it that way is because there were two other white kids, like little white boys, that were seeing what he was doing.
Right.
And they went and reduplicated it and started selling their comic too.
Right.
But then,
That is so crazy.
but what happened was before they did that, they were trying to actually get him to draw comic books for them. So he started drawing comic books at first for them. And they started selling it for more,
Right.
and then they started acting like he worked for them.
What?
And so
This was in
this was in second grade. so my brother came back. So my brother came back to me and told me, like, you know, they're trying to get me to work for them. I don't want to do that. I want to do our own comics.
Right.
And he told them, I'm done. I'm not doing it no more.
Yeah.
So then they started drawing comic books that were killing our comic book characters. So they drew comic
so
books.
it became
Oh my
rival.
God.
Yeah, so
like
I
a
became
rival.
rival in school, right?
Wow.
So I'm like the dopest artist. If I'm fourth grade, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
And, like,
right.
you know, they're like still coming up trying to really draw their stuff. And my brother's heart was like broken. So he comes back and he shows me the comic book of like their character killing our characters. And I was like, oh, don't worry. Because the name of their comics was Kirby Comics. That's the name of their comics. So
Kirby
they kinda
Comics.
they took the little Kirby Nintendo fluffy pink
Oh,
Kirby.
yeah.
That was their logo. So I drew a picture of, I think, like a lion or something with a big hammer smashing Kirby, and blood was
Hilarious.
spilling everywhere like that. And that was on the front cover. And then he took that back to them and said, now what? And they couldn't compete with it, and they folded.
Oh my
They
God.
folded. They stopped drawing the comics. They the color.
Their company ended?
Yeah, it ended. Like the picture I drew was like so well detailed. 'Cause
Dude,
even
that's
in fourth
classic.
grade, I had it figured out. So it's like it was so well detailed that they was like, we can't compete with that, and they stopped.
That's
You know what I'm
classic.
saying? So it's funny. It was a learning experience at such a young age about entrepreneurship and then
Yeah.
about big businesses coming. And sometimes other people aren't even as talented as you, but they see the talent you have, and they'll just try to buy you out.
Yeah, manipulate the
Manipulate
system.
the situation to work
Yeah.
for them. And we wasn't seeing it like that. We were just like, this is fun.
And-
Come
Yeah,
on,
and
yay,
you-
we can sell it for $1. Yay, that was it.
And you got this at an early age. That's the brilliance behind it, because there's so many. Big Nate, I hope you're listening to this, and my boy Johnny, Wyndham, Riley. I hope you guys are listening to this, because, you know, now here you are in what, Alabama.
Fourth grade, yeah, Alabama.
Alabama.
Fourth grade for me, second grade for my brother.
Now let's just to talk about perspective and how the world works and how we're all connected, this, that, and the other. Flash forward in California, you got me, Big Nate, Wyndham, Johnny, and all these guys are artists as well, doing exactly what you're doing, but haven't taken it to that level of creating your own comic books and selling them. That is entrepreneurship unlike you done. Because when you get it that early in life, no one can tell you anything
Yeah.
about anything. And staying home, staying off the streets and whatever. You're indoors, you're doing what you do, and you're letting the creative energy just flow.
Yeah.
That's a great story, dude. That's a great,
So
great
thank you, Stan
story.
Lee, for kicking off the comic book passion. You
What
know,
did
That's-
your brother do now?
and showing the inspiration. He's a director. So, you know what's, that's another thing. It's funny you bring that up, because when I see his films and see how he directs, and that's Clairvoyant Pictures Entertainment. That's Clairvoyant Pictures _ENT. Follow that.
That's your brother?
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I see his style of directing, it didn't hit me until much, much later. But I was like, yo, we've been prepping this all our life, because
Yeah.
The whole
the
time.
way he the way his like
Like the panels?
cinematography look, and the angles that he chooses to pick, it is like so comic bookish. Because we used to pride ourselves on drawing like the dopest cover, because it was the cover that would draw you in.
Right.
So it was like the poses that they would be in, like it's like strong, hard pose, all this light flashing behind it, and then you got
Right,
these
right.
other
It's like
superheroes and this angle and that
yeah.
angle, and it brings in like a perspective that makes you hone in on the comic. He does that in directing. You know
Ridiculous.
what I'm saying? So his films look like that. And I was
Right.
like, yo, this is amazing. So
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And this artwork it's coming along. So if you're just tuning in, we're live in downtown LA at the PatCave. I got Rio Sirah, who is a I'm just call you the creator.
Yeah.
He's a creator because the canvas art is just one element of who he is. Also a spiritual man.
Yes, indeed.
I picked that up the other day. You didn't even have to say it. I knew it. I was like,
Yeah.
spiritual man.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned that your dad was a pastor.
Yes.
Is a pastor. Dad's still around? Yeah.
No, not around anymore.
Okay.
But was a very fired up Pentecostal pastor. As a matter of fact, I never knew anything about secular music of any sort until I went to public school or went to the mall or something like that and heard somebody playing music out of the car. I was like, what in the world is that? That don't sound like the Mighty Clouds of Joy or the Jackson Southern Airs or
my God.
Mississippi Mass Choir. Who is that?
That ain't Andre Crouch.
Right.
They ain't no Andre Crouch.
I was like, I got to know this.
Now we talked about connective souls and the flow of energy that flows here in LA. It's not ironic that we connected through Alonzo, because my grandfather too was a minister of his own church. I was in church all the time.
Yes, sir.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, convalescent homes on Saturdays.
Yep.
And
Like my life.
and 7 to 7 every Sunday. So I didn't even know Sundays existed.
What?
I didn't even know Sundays existed because I was in church. I was in church all the time. And when I wasn't in church, I was in the library or I was drawing or making music. That's it. Or watching cartoons. That's it.
Same here. And we would have church until you know you're gonna be in church a long time when people start doing the tambourine shaking and the multiple clapping like
yeah. You ready to go to double clap?
Y'all the double clapping. As soon as you hit the double clapping,
It's
know
over.
that
It's
you're
over.
gonna be in church until it's time to go to school.
clap.
Organ.
On Monday morning.
Organ
Yes.
is going, done. If we didn't have to go to church, school the next day, we would probably be
Still
in
be in
church
church.
till midnight.
Yep.
Wow.
Not kidding you. But 7 to 7, we got home just time enough to take a bath and go to sleep.
That's it.
To wake up to go to school. I like that connection already because when you grow up with that kind of blueprint, that's why I call it. It's a blueprint.
Yep.
It was, at the time I have to say that if I had a choice to go to church, that would have been better. Hey, you want to go to church today?
Agreed.
Not today. Get the hell out of here. You going to church.
That's exactly like no.
That's
choice.
how it went. You
None.
had no choice.
choice.
You were getting out the house. You were going to church. So 16 years of that, I finally had to break free. And like yourself, you hit the ground running. You was like, you know what? Time to travel. Time to see some things. Let's talk about that too, because not everyone branches off. A lot of folks, the creatives, artists, don't get that inspiration to say, you know what, this is cool, but I got to expand. I have to move from my hometown. I got to go with the flow and meet other people.
Yeah.
So what sparked that in you to say, you know what, it's time to take this on the road? Or at what age would you say that you finally was like, you know what, I got to expand. I got to meet different people outside of my hometown. I got to do some things. I have to do this.
Well, I'll say this: I was ready to do that before I was allowed to do it. I was like,
So you was ready to rock.
I was ready to rock and roll at 10 years old. I was like, y'all ready to go?
Goodness gracious!
Like I'm ready to just see other things because, I was going to public school. I was hearing a lot of people say a lot of stuff I wasn't even used to. Playing music I had never understood before. All of that. I was like, so it's got to be more on the outside,
Right.
Yeah.
But the age where I just really just like left and went with it, and on top of that, I would say the thing that pushed me or propelled me to do it was the mere fact that I feel like I was dying,
Like you were being
literally,
crushed.
Yeah,
Like
I literally felt like man, I'm trying to think of the verse that Andre 3000 said about inspiration. He lives for inspiration because without that he would die. Right. And
I feel the same way.
Like that's what was happening with me. It was just like everything was so mundane and boring, and I had figured it out already. It was like there's nothing new, And it was like if I'm learning this fast and I'm not able to apply what I'm learning because I'm stuck in the house all the time, or because I'm in the same neighborhood with the same people and the same friends, and they all doing the same doggone thing every week.
Right.
Then I'm not going to
day after day after day
I'm
after
not
day.
gonna live. Like I know that I'm gonna self-destruct. I'm gonna do things to myself that's gonna make me self-destruct because I'm gonna be depressed. And I was that type of kid. Like, I'm more free now as an adult. I mean, like, mentally than I was as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
I was the most paranoid kid on earth.
Whoa.
On earth. I was the kid that you caught like zigzagging in the street because I was sure that there was a sniper somewhere that was gonna like hit me with
My
a
God,
shot.
the fear.
Yeah, the fear is real.
And
The
so,
fear is
like,
real, and it comes from, we don't know where it comes from. It's just there,
Like
and
the
it's
government
well, it's
or, like,
inherited.
something.
Some of it is
it's
inherited fear.
yeah,
It's
DNA.
like what
Like
your
the
parents
Yeah.
feel
it's
about
like
certain things, and they pass those things on to you because they're scared of it.
Exactly.
Media, like all that stuff.
Well, especially parents. Parents
Yeah.
have a hold on their
And it's
child,
scary at
and
first
they
because they feel
instill
like,
that.
you
The
know-
what if zone. That's, that what if zone. Well, if
Yeah.
you do that, what if this happened? What if that happens? Like, what if?
That's
What if
totally in your
a
head.
rock
Yeah.
could fall out of the sky onto my head right now?
And that's what I used to do with all my friends. Like when I was around my parents, I was like, I can't stand it. But then as soon as I got around my friends, I was like, yo, we should do that because, we could get in trouble. Police might come. And like,
You, like,
yo,
sounded like
chill.
them?
Like,
Right.
shut up.
Right. Bringing that negative energy into something that flows, and that can break it. That can break your whole creative zone right
Exactly.
there. So early on, you got the notion. You're like, I'm hitting the ground running on this one.
Yeah, and then things like I'm thankful for the ugliest parts of my life, the parts where I was like mega mad depressed, and then I got like in a lot of trouble with a lot of people who was doing a lot of stuff like stealing and robbing and fighting and shooting and stabbing and all those different things. I was involved in all that foolishness, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? But I was always a good-hearted person, so I never did things to people who weren't bothering me or, just trying to start some stuff just for the heck of it. Any fight I ever got into, it was out of protection.
Right.
And anything that I may have gotten into where I went to jail for, thank God, was just my mouth. Me running my mouth. You know what I'm saying? And be like, you ain't gonna do nothing. I dare you. I try you. Try me. Try me. All
I
right.
dare you.
Click.
Right.
You can't do that. You don't have no right. Nah, I ain't about that. But like, all the stuff that I did, it was illegal. I never got put in jail for those things. And because I am who I am, I'm not gonna state what those things are on live.
Not
But,
on live.
But and so I can stay alive. But I think those things made me in the type of artist that I am now, so I can share those things with other people and let them know, like, man, you ain't on the wrong path unless you decide that you just don't want to do nothing with your life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're gonna have to go through the ugliest parts as well as the great parts, and if you learn from what you did yesterday, so you can be a better person today, then it was worth going through the hell that you went through yesterday.
You got to go through a little hell.
Yep.
Maybe a lot of hell. You may have to go through a lot of hell to get to heaven.
Exactly.
And heaven in your mind.
Exists in your mind.
In your mind.
So yeah, like I think comic books helped me a lot. It allowed me to escape my mind into something that was more productive, because I have a hyperactive imagination and I will get bored real fast and just go do something just to feel that adrenaline of danger and excitement.
Right.
So,
And then I did mention the word therapy because as I studied, I took on, the metaphysics and spirituality and religion's the whole nine, and hadn't gone to see a therapist for some of the issues that you just brought up, starting with fear.
yeah.
Found the therapy in my own art, in the music, just as you did. You were like, look, you know what? I'm burying myself in my art, and I'm good. And having that escape, having that kind of escape, is priceless. Like no one could have given you that. No one could have said, "Come on, boy, we're gonna go to school. We're gonna go to art school. You're gonna become this. You're gonna become that."
Right.
You said, "No, I know what I'm gonna do.
Exactly.
I don't need you to tell me
What I'm gonna do.
what I'm gonna do because I'm already doing it."
But to add on to that, it took the journey of what I was going through in my life to realize what I was actually supposed to be doing with my art. That was another task.
So you were playing around, basically.
So no, I wouldn't say that. I just said I think I was a hummingbird. I was flying around from flower to flower to flower to flower to flower to flower, just trying to pick up wisdom, pick up different techniques, all that type of stuff. But it was like after I had built up my resume and built up like all of these skill sets, it's like, okay, I built up all of this stuff. Now what am I supposed to do with it?
But you did this early on, though. We're talking about a span of, the first 20 years of your life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then
after that, I started. But I mean, even after I had figured out what to do with it, it was like, okay, what's your end goal? Like I just told somebody that yesterday. Like by my heart, I'm a philanthropist. You know what I'm saying? And I know that everything I'm doing now is taking my brush and turning it into a way of inspirational speaking. Because I know that people will see my work, they'll listen. If they listen, then I'll have something to say to them when I start talking.
Right.
And when I say what I say, it's going to resonate because I experienced it, and that's it.
And talking about the end game or the goal.
The goal of the reason, like why I'm on Earth.
Right.
Like why am I on Earth? Why am I here? Like people say, like what's the purpose of life? What is my purpose?
What is your purpose?
I'll tell you this right now. I know exactly what it is.
What is it?
First and foremost, my it's three things. One, to teach. Two, to teach what real love is. And I don't mind elaborating on that. That's another podcast all by itself.
That's a whole nother
And
podcast.
Three, to raise the black intellect. And the reason why I say that specifically is because look at all the trends, music, and followings that you have here in America. American culture is black culture.
It is black culture.
It is black culture.
We are.
And all of the ethnicities that come from that too as well. Because Afro-Cuban, like Spanish,
everything.
Mexican, black, we've given to this country every single solitary thing. You know what I'm saying? From the clothing to the music to the food to the dance, everything. So it's like when the black man gets his mind back and correct and starts moving in the way that the creator tells him to move, he will be able to line himself up with his destiny, his divinity, and then he will be able to instruct everyone else how everything is supposed to go in the flow.
Exactly.
And if he decides that he gonna sag his pants, guess what? Everybody else sagging their pants, even in Korea, they doing it too. But if he decides, I'm gonna pull it up and I'm gonna wear it straight like this, and I'm gonna have a gold lion right here on my shoulder, and I'm gonna wear that with a suit, and I'm gonna have the kufi on, you know what I'm saying? That everybody else gonna start doing that too. It's like but the children that I call them the vibe children, but this nation kind of calls them the invisible children. And that's really the people who have no voice unless they conglomerate in numbers because they're too poor to make any effect. Like when you live in an impoverished area, the only effect you can have is when you conglomerate and decide, okay, well then I'm going to riot. I'm going to storm on top of everything. That's the only time that poor people will have a voice is when they come all the way together and say enough is enough. But until then, the rich stomp on them all day. The cops stomp on them all day. Society stomp on them all day. Media and propaganda stomps on them all doggone day long, And so I'm here to let you know that, one, you do not have to walk in lack. You don't have to walk in impoverishment. You do not have to walk in decadence. You do not have to walk in self-negative imagery. You know what I'm saying? There's a positive element to who you are, positive aspect to who you are, and all you have to do is understand how to tap into it, and nobody is giving you a practical layout on how to do it, so I'm here to help you see that.
Hey, he just dropped more knowledge in 2 minutes than most are going to get in a lifetime. So, dude, I'm sure your audience appreciated what you just mentioned because it was absolute. Everything is absolute. The intellect of community. I mean, we are on the Intelligent Human Voice Podcast Network. It's all about intelligence, multi-intelligence.
Exactly.
And just expanding on who you are and not mimicking what is. It trips me out a lot to hear, young cats specifically, on the follow. Well, they won't let us do this and they won't do this. Like, do it yourself. Why do you need anybody to do anything for you that you can't do for yourself?
Exactly.
And if the more you do for yourself, I'm sure you agree, the more you do for yourself, the better you feel.
Because it's a self-confidence building element as well. It's not also about just trying to see how many people you can get to do
how
something
many likes,
for you.
Do it yourself. You'll feel so much better. You'll feel great about yourself. You'll feel great about and goal settings.
Exactly.
I think you mentioned a quote. I wish I could remember. You said a quote on the first podcast about dreams. It was something about dreams.
Talking about ideas and
moving
vision.
on it versus not moving on it.
Having an idea, having a vision.
Yes.
Oh, and actually doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like an idea is something that'll waste away if no one else agrees or will help you get the idea done. Most of the time, people say, "I have an idea," and they share it with someone else, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's great," and that's it because nobody moves on it.
Right.
But a vision, it does not wait for someone to approve it. A vision is already going.
Absolutely.
And then the things that are needed to help get that vision done begin to formulate itself as you are moving.
Yeah.
So if you're going to sit around and wait on the actual resources to show up before you actually make the move, well, then you're just going to be sitting there for quite some time because it does not work that way.
And I'm going to ride that
I'll
wave.
just say in my life of experience, it has not happened like that for me.
Right.
No. And here's the thing. We're in 2018. The computer I built in 1990 from scratch was about big as this TV right here, right? We now have the computing capacity that we can put in our pocket.
Exactly.
You can have a whole business on your art, on whatever you want to do from your pocket.
Exactly.
So, I don't know.
So what are you waiting for?
This is why we're doing this, to inspire, because we've done the work. We've been here. We've been on the planet long enough.
Yep.
So now it's up to us to inspire the generations to come and teach them what and it's easy because they have all the tools.
Yep.
These are all tools. The phone, the computer,
and
not being locked into it.
The thing is that they don't I would say this is what I see with the youth. They got the fire always. They even have the spirituality. I'm not
they
even
do.
front.
They have the spirituality.
It's
But
way more than
they do not have an accurate direction as to how they want to use what they're doing to help the generation after them and the generation after them. And we talk about legacy.
Right.
Legacy building. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the only other thing. And then you have other people who are aware that they have this power, but they're also aware that they don't know exactly everything to do with it. So they start guiding those youngsters into their old school ways of doing things.
Old school
ways of doing things. And continuing the tradition in which now we done lost Mac Miller and lost Triple Extension and lost other youngsters, you know what I'm saying, who when I saw them, I was like, yo, that's a powerful dude right there. That's a powerful woman right there. Like losing Amy Winehouse away, that's a powerful woman.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I know that me being here is about saying very practical, live your life way type of things spiritually to these youngsters that I don't think anybody else is going to take out the time to do because they're so busy trying to use them to help build their empire rather than showing them, no, here, pass the torch for your empire.
And especially here.
I'm telling you. So I'm not forced. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you. I said this yesterday. I was like, yo, straight up, if you lie to the youth, they'll be vengeful to the old.
Yep.
If you lie to the youth, they'll be vengeful to the old. Because when they find out that what you told them was not true, they're going to tear this freaking country up.
And they find it out. And if I got to tell them, and I will tell them, I will show them.
I ain't got no choice.
We are showing them. We have to show them.
I'm held to a certain responsibility by the creator that I have to do it. Like I answer to him and him only. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm more frightened of not doing my job properly than I am of somebody taking me out or trying to poison me or any of those other doggone things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
All the worldly
I was ready
nonsense.
to die as soon as I was born. I understand what the end is about. The end is a circle. Nothing's linear. Everything's circular. Yeah. So everything I was supposed to do, I've already done. Everything I'm supposed to have, already have. Anything that was supposed to happen has already been done. I just am catching up to it. Like I'm stuck in the third plane and I have to wait to get there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But other than that, it's already here.
Yeah.
So the effect has already been made. Matter of fact, I'm going to say this before I get real mouthy, because I'm being real mouthy. But I will say that when I was on Skin Wars, before I ever got on Skin Wars, I told them, I said, yo, the day y'all put me on that show is going to be the highest rated show ever, and you're not going to have another show like that until y'all do a reunion show. And I'd be doggone if it wasn't true, because the first nor third season is bigger than the second. And I tell you this on top of that, as soon as I put my face on that TV, I knew that it was over.
Done.
Anything that could have done to like stop me had already been done the day that I got on it.
Right.
So I know that I already won.
Right.
Boom.
See, confidence, confidence, staying grounded, knowing what it is that you're supposed to be doing on this earth. That's what elevates us to the next level, and giving back to the generation to come.
Exactly.
That's huge, and man, you'll never see me walking around without a belt on like that. That's just so ridiculous. It's just, but that's why we're doing these podcasts, the Intelligent Human Voice Podcast Network, to bring more artists, more voices, more creativity to the forefront of inspiration, and letting these millennials and whoever, even the old school,
Exactly.
the old school, I got a problem with old school. I really do.
Tell the truth.
Because they've been here.
Yep.
They've been here. Stan Lee, and going back to Stan Lee was 95 years old. My grandmother is 90. My mom's like 20 years prior to that. Maybe 10 years, 80. But, they lived in a time in which that's what it was. Right. But like my grandmother, she didn't stick around for what's next. She had to move on it. And she knew that if she didn't, like you, if I don't move on this, I could die.
Right.
I could die. I could die today. So why not go about what I need to do in the world and build my family, build my life. If my grandmother hadn't made that move, we wouldn't be here. Like, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
True.
I would not exist in this realm right now because she wouldn't have made it. True. Abuse, verbal abuse, the worst. I think verbal abuse is worse than physical abuse. Oh, yeah. And that's what she dealt with. This is so beautiful. Let's get back. So I'm gonna give a little shout out what's going on here. Can I tell them?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Spider Woman. And I love Spider Woman. I don't think there's enough. I know it's coming. They've done a lot of Spider-Man. There's a Spider-Verse that's coming out. It's an animated movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I hear y'all with all but Spider Woman. And you are painting Shannon, Spider Woman today,
yep.
And it looks off the hook too. It's really off the hook.
Well, I do appreciate that, good sir. And it's about to get real serious. And this is one of my favorite parts, illustrating the face. And
now I saw you go into a little meditation before you go into your art. That's your technique to connect with the. What do you see when you, and I know we talked about this before, you see something different with each model as a canvas before you start to paint?
Yes, I do. When today was more controlled because you have to obey a concept that's already been drawn out. Mm-hmm.
As opposed to Monday was like freestyle and you were like going into it. Gotcha.
Crazy freestyle.
And that came out super dope, dude. That was super
Yeah,
dope.
people still talking about that.
Did you guys go to the beach, Venice?
We did. We took some photos.
That was awesome.
Nice.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
So this was more controlled because you're
because
this is the tribute to Stan Lee and
I wanna,
the comics of Stan Lee.
Stay close to the representation of what is already created as possible. I may do a little variation here and there, but it won't be totally different from the original character.
Gotcha.
I see the model, and when I go through my mind as far as like what I want to draw, yeah, man, I don't even know what to call it. I get hit with a crazy wave of everything I think a person can think of. Scenarios, colors, lines, pictures, names, sounds. It's a bunch of stuff. And it just like jackpot reels around in my brain. Ding, ding.
Oh my God.
You catch one of them and they say, okay, that looks good, and you try to anchor it down long enough to see the detail, and then you use that to paint, And even now, even though this is an image that's already been created by someone else that I'm reduplicating, I'm still doing that because I know right now that I'm not going to leave this like flat red, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to come in and outline it in certain areas. And I really could move a little faster than what I'm doing, but I'm kind of, taking my time to, draw every straight line,
It looks fantastic.
Well, I'm always humbly thankful.
I was looking at your Instagram.
Uh-huh.
I saw your sketchbook the other day,
Uh-huh.
and I knew as soon as you walked through the door, I already knew who you were. I didn't know who you
I
were.
feel the same way.
Because I hadn't seen the show. I didn't know about anything that you'd done on Netflix.
Uh-huh.
But I just had a feeling of knowing who you were, and then I saw the sketchbook. But I'm looking at your Instagram, and I'm going, man, this is so divine. Because when you put out the energy of attracting minds alike, and that, it's real. It's just real stuff.
Oh yeah.
I had another point I was bringing up about Instagram. That's what it is. I think what makes you use the word surreality.
Surreality, yeah.
Surreality.
Yeah.
Is that I've been to a lot of events in LA over the past, let's just say 10 years. I've been there about almost 15 years.
Okay.
But let's go into 10 years. I've gone to a lot of events, Burning Man events, DCOM, Lucent Dossier, and there's a lot of artists doing all kind of stuff, live art, a few body painters. Mm-hmm. But what I enjoyed about your Instagram, and I think what people really gravitate towards, is that there's a lot of art in which you've painted yourself.
Oh yeah,
the face, dude, and it's off the hook. So I can see folks going, "Yo, man, you did that to yourself." Well, I need some of that and put it on. I need that.
Right.
And it's like your calling card within itself. I don't see too many artists, painters who actually are taking on the art themselves, applying it to themselves, and that's the unique part about yourself, about you.
Well,
Mr. Rio Sirah.
Well, once again, I appreciate that, good sir. I've seen a lot of body painters over the course of painting, and I started in 2009 in Atlanta. And
because you weren't doing body paint before that, you were doing just doodling.
I was doing. I'd always been an artist as far as like drawing, like real detailed sketches and stuff.
Right.
But no, I wasn't like traditionally known as a body painter at the time, and you got it. Like,
I'm like,
oh my god. Okay, so but yeah, I wasn't traditionally into it, but I knew that I had something to give to the world as far as my art, whether it came through music or whether it came through painting or whether it came through like doing comic books or video games, because that's really all I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to be a video game developer or cartoonist or comic book artist. That's all that was on my slate. Nothing else. Mm-hmm. And then at 16, music hit me. And then I was like, nope. Mm-mm.
So that's interesting.
The dopest rapper like in life.
oh
And, I haven't even let that go. I just haven't flexed that arm right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But, I still have musical material out. I'm just going to do this, and then I'm going to just, like, knock everybody's head off with the rest of it. And,
that it's, we share so much in common. It's crazy. It's actually ridiculous.
You're like
so you gravitated and was like, you know what? Music, nope. Let me stick to the art. The pen. Let me do that. For me, I put the pen down, even though I kept sketching. I put the pen down, and the music just drew me in. And now I'm going back to the art. That's one of the paintings I did like a couple weeks ago. I just wanted to.
Which one?
That one on the wall right there.
Ooh,
That one and this one right here.
I love it.
That one's like it's got these I don't know, symmetrics and stuff. It just I went deep. I was like, I need to get it out. I need to get something out. I need to do something with my hands aside from the music.
Yes.
And that's the part I get when we were talking about therapy and just doing what the creative has put you here for. Because everything, like here on out, I mean, whatever it is you want to do, with whether it's your music or anything else, your calling card is your art, and you've vested so much into it. I used to have folks saying that you need to pick one thing and stick with it. Yeah. I would be all over the place, literally. Music, cookies, doing this, doing that, and then I finally was like, you know what, music is gonna expand on everything from that, and the cooking and everything else, that'll all come from there. But let me focus on the one thing that I can professionalize and done. And that's what you've done with your art here, with the body painting, because unlike artists who may make a painting or whatever they're doing with their art, it's on the wall and that's it.
Yeah.
It's in a gallery, and that's it. You slap a price on it, and that's it. And you may never see that piece of art again. But to create something that's organic as body painting.
Yeah, it's different. I would say this too is just hit my mind. I feel like body painting came to me as a test.
As a test?
Yeah. And the reason I say that, and I'm about to be Rio the Raw, because I don't know another way to be.
As if there's any other way to go. On the Intelligent Human Voice Podcast Network, Rio Sirah is going to go raw. One more again. Drop it on the brother. Drop it on. I love these parts.
Everyone has, I guess, what they consider like. Now, I don't want to say everybody, but
a lot of people.
People feel like you cannot be addicted to sex, and you can be. And I never had really a problem with liquor and weed and stuff like that. My thing was like women. Like I literally was like, whenever that same feeling you feel when you like, man, yo, I can't deal with this. I gotta smoke a cigarette. You know what I'm saying? Or the same thing like, yo, I gotta drink. You know,
your vice.
That was my thing. I was just like, yo, I got hey,
yeah.
what you doing? You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
Or when I wasn't doing that, I was masturbating like crazy. When I wasn't doing that, I was watching pornos. When I wasn't doing that, I was actually like downloading like pornos and then converting them into MP3 so I could listen to people having sex when I was just like on the bus or like on the train or whatever.
Okay, the whole common thing, that's a whole nother podcast subject too. That's a whole nother one, because we gonna go a whole hour on that one. Okay. Because
all right, well then to cut it short, then we'll say the rest for the other podcast. But I feel like body painting was a test. Because because here in front of you is a choice.
Right.
Your art or these women. It was like a straight up choice in my face. And it was just like,
wow.
And you pushed yourself to that.
Raw.
You was like, done.
Exactly.
But like, you actually get the best of both worlds.
I do.
Because
it allowed me to think a little more clear on how I want to go as far as like my spiritual life, my sexual life, my career.
Right.
More direct, you know what I'm saying? More specific to being a better man or being a better spiritual man. You know what I'm saying? Like that's more so what I'm aiming at.
Right.
I know if I get that right, everything else gonna fall in place right. You know what I'm saying? So I just needed to work on the spiritual man, and I feel like body painting showed up and said, "Okay, Rio, here you go."
That is
so you're gonna be in where very
inspiring.
voluptuous, like seductive women gonna be in your lane, and then you gotta make a very intelligent decision right now. In this case, like about not sleeping with this woman or sleeping with this woman, and what it's gonna do to your career and what it may do to your reputation, and when I thought about like the Me Too movement and everything that's saying, like to come all the way up to
that's
now
a whole nother subject,
and to build
too.
your career to a certain status, and then to have someone come and say that you like handled them wrong or raped them, or manipulated them in some type of way,
right?
Like to know that you have the actual discipline and self-control to walk away or say no, or to just look at a certain person who in the moment they really feeling you, but then they get buyer's remorse in the morning,
Right.
And then they feel like maybe I was.
That's enough for any person, care what color you are. That's for any person to say, you know what, my life is on the line. My livelihood is on the line. Is it worth
That's so
nookie?
cool.
Is it worth some nookie? No, it ain't worth nookie. It ain't never worth no nookie. Your livelihood, your creativity is never worth any of that. Nah. That's why I said we're going to talk about that on a whole nother podcast, because we'll celibacy is what I've practiced for a very long time. A lot of people don't know this, and I know you have. We're going on 4 years now.
Whoa.
Yeah, 4 years.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah. But I've done it at intervals of my life. Like when I moved to LA, I had a girlfriend. We broke up as soon as I got here, and I was like, you know what? I'm not really feeling the same vibe that I had in the Bay Area with women, because it was a whole different thing. And when I got here, it was like, I'm calling my homegirls, and like they're like, how's it going? I'm like, I don't know. You know what? I don't want to get into. I'm not feeling it. So, and I don't date. I don't do the online dating thing. That's a whole nother podcast within itself. Right. There's a whole lot of subjects on podcast subjects that we can go. And to I'm gonna give you guys a heads up real quick. Believe it or not, we've gone an hour. An hour into the podcast. I think we're gonna keep going. I have 5 hours of live broadcasting here on the Intelligent Human Voice Podcast Network. I'm actually help Rio Sirah create his own podcast as well, integrating some of his awesome artwork and his intellect as well. We got a lot we're going to be talking about in the very now and nearest future. We're going to wind this down. Anything you want to add, brother, before we wind this down? I think we covered a lot of ground, but we got a whole lot of more universal ground to cover. True. But back to Stan Lee. Stan the man, thank you. The Marvel Universe, Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby was behind DC. Right. Actually, him and Stan Lee worked together. People don't know that. Yeah. There's a lot of folks online with the rivals. Oh, better than DC, better than Marvel. Well, I grew up with comic books in my hand. Right. You know what I mean? Not just the cartoons. When the cartoons came, it was like, are you kidding me? Right. Are you kidding me?
We get to now see it move.
From comic books to movie. And remember early DC? Yeah. And then you saw, and then when Marvel came out with X-Men animated, you started looking at the old DC stuff like, come on, man, y'all could have put some work into this. Yeah. You got the background moving and the stiff Superman flying. He's like, I did, because I was there watching. Like, are you kidding me? Well, I'd start watching animation, and I saw Japanimation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute. If these guys are doing this, we're in the same era, right? They were doing Voltron on a whole nother level. Exactly. While, DC was still like kind of, I don't know. I don't know. They're trying to figure it out. But Stan, to watch Saturday morning cartoons and hear his voice, True Believers and Spider-Man and
Rule Believers.
Who's your favorite superhero? I'm gonna tell you who mine is. Who's your favorite comic book? Your favorite comic book hero, whether to draw, whether inspiration
from Marvel,
from period. Mine, the Incredible Hulk. Okay, and I'll tell you why. That anger, that scientist that gets, don't just. I'm a cool dude, but please don't make me angry, right, Mr. McGee. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. And if the Hulk came out, it's like me trying to keep the Hulk in all those years. So I love the Incredible Hulk. That is one of them. And he's the Hulk. Right. The strongest there is. Right. Who is yours, man? Who's yours? You got
It's
one
a bunch
that
of
pops
people
in.
that come to my mind.
And Batman, of course. Batman.
I would have to say the Spawn for me. The Spawn, because
Todd McFarlane, Spawn.
yeah, the Spawn, and like I said, that's a podcast all by itself. But like, the Spawn scared the crap out of me,
Dude.
And it thrilled me at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And when I read the story and found out, you know, he was a black man and he
Right.
died from like betrayal from a person he thought it was his friend, and his whole life went ahead of him without him. His best friend ended up marrying his girl.
Dynamic
like, all of those
story,
things.
right?
I was just like, I could just feel him. I could feel him as far as like, yo, having this great power and decide whether or not he wanted to destroy everything with it because he was just like emotional.
Because he could have
vengeful
easily,
or if he wanted to like help people. So he was like always on the fence.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how I felt growing up. It was like, I know I got this particular superpower, and I'm on the fence about human beings because the way y'all treat each other,
right?
That jump made me want to just take everybody out,
right?
But then on the other side, a lot of you all are so great with the way that you like share and the way that you understand things and the way that people have helped me. Straight up strangers that had no reason to help me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Helped me, and those are the type of things that made me have a little more faith in humanity. And say, you know what, they worth it, even though they get on my doggone nerves. They worth it, and that's how the Spawn acted.
It right.
So I have to say the Spawn for me.
That's a great one. You know what? It's a trip that, you know, when Spawn, because remember there was HBO, the animated series on HBO. I couldn't wait for every episode to come on. But even at the time, I'm sitting there going, this is so far ahead of the game. I don't even think people are really.
No, they weren't.
They weren't
it didn't
really.
Last as long as it should have.
It should still be rocking.
But no, you know. Okay, so everybody, you know that they revamping the Spawn, right?
They have to.
And you know that Jamie Foxx is getting ready to play the Spawn. Yo, check this out.
Oh,
if anybody
man.
gets this, if you got any connection to Todd McFarlane whatsoever, tell them to say, holla at your boy. I'm here. It's Rio Sirah. I'm telling you, I've been drawing your comic book ever since I was freaking like 9 years old. I know it better than anybody that's ever considered themselves a fan. I will draw the hell out of the Spawn in real life as a body paint and on the front cover, whatever you want me to do, man. I'm down to do it. Please.
Did you say Jamie Foxx?
If I'm not mistaken, I believe Jamie Foxx is playing the Spawn. Because you know they wanted they
you know what?
It kind of left a bad taste in everybody's mouth with the Michael J. White version.
You know what, man? But oh man, we got to talk about that too. I love Jamie Foxx. I watched the Jamie Foxx show, you know, growing up. He's a funny comedian, talented singer, this, that, and the other. I have to say this. I have to speak because it's I have to. And Jamie Foxx, you are the brother. You are the brother. And please don't take this any other way other than, you know, I'm a comic book dude. That's just who I am, man. And the Spider-Man. I know he's heard it before, but the character he played in Spider-Man, Electro, yeah, it wasn't his fault. I hope it wasn't his fault. Everything about that just and I couldn't get over. I couldn't separate Wanda, you know, the character he played as Wanda, from the character Electro, and it just messed me up. I walked out of the theater, dude. I did not finish watching that Spider-Man series. So when you said Spider-Man and McFarlane, Spawn, I'm sitting there like, you know what? There's a lot of action actors out there that are emerging, and I think they need a chance. I think we need more new faces doing this comic book era that's coming on board, because the comic book, this is here forever. It's not going anywhere.
It's here now. Yes,
I'm glad it's here because, I mean, there's my collection right there. That's the proof.
Word, I see it.
You see it, right?
Gosh.
You didn't see that walking in.
No.
That's been collected. I've been collecting that since 1990. When I got my first place, I was like, done. Me and my boy had a competition about, you know, he's got all this stuff. But I don't know. Either way it goes, man, you know, a revamp of Spawn is what people need. People jumped on board with the whole Black Panther thing, and I'm sitting there like, look, we haven't had a black action hero since Blade. You know, and can you just give us this one? Can we just have this one? It's like, oh, you're doing it because you're a black man. No, it's an awesome story. It gets even better. And those who hadn't even known about Black Panther were fans, became fans. People like, I didn't know it was like that. Well, the comic book world, this is where it's been. They've been so ahead of the game that you wouldn't know unless you picked up. I got ridiculed a lot about comic books. Boy, you watching them cartoons again? Sit down, go do something. I'm doing something. I'm being inspired right now. Right. So again, Stan Lee, Marvel, DC, thank you. Jamie Foxx, thank you, brother. Again, I don't have nothing against you. The comic book dudes. Come on, man. Give people a chance, other people a chance. There's a lot of faces out there. There's a lot of talent out there, and I think it needs to be exposed. And that's what the Intelligent Human Voice Podcast Network is all about, is bringing artists, business, entrepreneurship, community together, making it happen, making it rock. Brothers like Sirah, Rio Sirah, who is one of the most, and I have to share with you, brother, why I have so much love for folks who are from the South and the ATL in particular.
Mm-hmm. ATL represents.
In 1995, a group of us talked about going to Freaknik. Now, we had heard about Freaknik. We had heard Luke. Luke was all about Luke Campbell and it's the whole nine. But we was like, we got to get to Freaknik. It went from 10 people. It was 10 folks, 10 of us that were going to go to 2. It got down to 2 people, and we bought our tickets, but we had no place to stay. My boy called up one of his boys, made some calls. Next thing you know, we're in a posse and group in the Atlanta. I think we were near College Park, if I remember.
Yep, College Park.
Entire group of brothers, like they were my actual brothers. Like we were, they welcomed us into the home. I'm not even gonna say what happened, but I seen more weed than I've ever seen in my life. I think I smoked more than I ever needed to, and that's why I don't smoke as much ever because I was in Atlanta and I'd seen it. Anyway, Atlanta showed me love like I'd never seen it. So I said, whenever I run into folks from the South and I see they're on point creatively, I have to embrace them. I have to put them up there and make it happen as much as possible. So, thank you for being here, brother. No problem, we are having me, dude. This is just we got stuff. Oh yeah, we got stuff that's coming. That's
about to hit them.
So this is unprecedented. It's never been done before. I don't think so. A live body painting in downtown LA with the Pat Man, Rio Sirah, and Shannon. Actually, this is we did it Monday, so it has been done before. But it's because you did it.
Still came from the same source that you're listening to now.
You did it. Anybody else that wants to do it afterwards, we did it first. Exactly. So, any closing? Actually, this is time where you plug everything. Shannon, plug your IG, plug your website, and actually, let's talk about you're halfway through. Would you say you're halfway through?
Yeah, we're halfway through.
More than halfway through.
More than halfway.
Shannon, talk about the experience. Give the audience pretty much a feel of what the experience have done for you today. How keep it minimum. And you're on.
You feel like a superhero.
You are a superhero. Yeah. Look at you. Turn Spider-Woman in my house. Spider-Woman is in the PatCave right now.
I love getting painted because you just feel so like strong and like sexy in your element.
Yeah. And you did an awesome job, dude. This is ridiculous.
I actually kind of like, at first I didn't because I was like, man, anybody can draw something on somebody that look like clothes. I was like, that's not imaginative. What are you doing?
I saw the one you did for Superman. You did someone. You did Superman like it was tearing off his. Like he had been through battle. That was.
And you know what? I did that in like 20 minutes, something like that. 20, 25. Because I was at an event and there was a lot of people wanting to get painted, so I had to think of something that I could do.
You did that in 20 minutes?
Yeah. Somewhere in there. It didn't take me longer than 25 minutes for sure. Wow. It surely did not.
Wow.
Because
whole body?
Nah, just top torso.
So go to his Instagram and see what I'm talking about. I like I said, I just scrolled through your Instagram. I saw that. I was like, what? Huge Superman fan. So
Word.
that was awesome.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Any closing plugs? Where you going to be this Saturday? Is that open to the public this Saturday? Or
yes, it's open to the public. So the thing is, like I said, it's a virtual performance. So you'll be able to view it on IG or YouTube Live. I will give you the links for those things. That's going to be Saturday from 10 to 5. So we're going to do 4 segments. And each of those segments are going to be based on a theme from the seasons. So you have the summer, winter, spring, and fall. There'll be a musical aspect that goes with each of those painted ladies. And they would do their own performances after there because they have some outstanding women. That's Naveen Woods. That's Masha Koch. That's Kia and Kiki. That's Boomerang Brook. So all of them will be performing Saturday. And I'm going to let them do their thing. After I paint them, I've done my part, and they're going to do the whole performance. So it's going to be really wild because we're going to be at a disclosed location, and we can do what we want to adapt.
Will people be able to buy tickets, or what do you think?
This right here is a teaser, so it'll be open for everybody to just take a look at it and be a part of the experience from a virtual aspect.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's the first show.
Yes.
All right, this is time you plug your website, plug your theme. We got about 2 more minutes, and what you got, Shannon? Where can people find you on Instagram?
You can find me, follow the booty, BUTI.
Follow that booty.
Yeah, for all your fitness yoga needs. And then you can do naked yoga with me online at vivastra.com.
Yes, Lord. I'm gonna tap into that.
Yeah.
You can once again follow me on Instagram, Rio Sirah. That's RIOSIRAH. There you go. That's it.
Done. Well, I think it's a wrap. This is unprecedented. Premiere Rio Sirah in LA, downtown LA, at the PatCave.
Yeah.
On the Intelligent Human Voice Podcast Network, doing his second live broadcast of live body paint. It's been a pleasure, brother. We're going to do some more podcasts because we got so many subjects that we can cover.
Like yoga in this very moment. Kind of cool.
And we got,
I'm kind of doing yoga too. I don't know what pose this would be
Yeah,
called.
you're doing yoga.
That's yoga. That's yoga.
You're doing
That's
yoga.
yoga.
You're like such a yogi right now.
I got
I'm just so used
I got a book for you if you really want to get into the yoga.
I'm serious.
Egyptian yoga.
Oh, word.
Don't nobody know about Egyptian yoga.
Yeah, I would think
Egyptian yoga.
Yeah, there's Egyptian yoga. It actually precedes India.
Wow, I believe it.
Yeah, big time. This is the Intelligent Human Voice Podcast Network. I'm your host, the Pat Man, and this has been one of the awesome. It's a great revamp to the show, the relaunch of the Intelligent Human Voice Podcast Network with Rio Sirah and the awesome model Shannon. Spider-Woman in the flesh. Literally, Spider-Woman in the flesh. I just came up with that one.
Literally.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and we're going to make this available immediately. Actually, it's live, so those who didn't catch it live, there'll be a link on the Intelligent Human Voice Podcast Network. You can go to Spreaker.com/IHVP Network, and that's where you can catch the show. Peace, love, soul, and Stan Lee. This is also dedicated to my homie Bobby Fullylove, who inspired everything that I am creatively, musically. Transition in paradise. Peace, love, and soul.